Hey, it's Steve from Command Shift New, and I want to show you something that I've been working on for a little bit of a while. A new sample library that I kind of think is pretty cool. I'm hoping that you'll enjoy it too. And you know what? It's going to be completely free. I think when I started out with this idea, I just wanted this sort of like gritty, drony, grainy type texture. And I thought, you know, I'm just going to take some synth samples. I'm going to take some bowed cymbal type samples, something like metallic, and just sort of run it through granular synthesizers. And I don't know, just sort of see what happened. And I kind of got some nice unexpected results, I think, out of it. The whole point of this library, though, the biggest fundamental point of this library was that I wanted the techniques that I use in music production every day embedded in the controls. It needed to be something that was completely playable, something that I could just take, play, manipulate, experiment with, but I also wanted to be able to control it in a DAW. I wanted to be able to sequence it with MIDI CC, the tools that I'm sort of familiar with in most other libraries, you know? Something that's the flexibility of in the box meets experimentation. One of the earliest ideas I had with this library is that I wanted it to be able to sweep up and down, cut off filter, open and close, but also have this cool tremolo type effect. It's something that I program in manually to drones quite a lot, this undulating, warping type of texture with the tremolo, but it's something that I wanted to be able to play for a change. I mean, sure, I could program and I can, control up MIDI, plug in certain things, MIDI learn so that I can twist things, like map parameters to certain other things, so that I just wanted to be able to play the library and play the sound in my head, you know? It needed to be that simple. So that's what I set out to do. Given that I wanted to make this for the piano book community, I knew that I wanted to sort of use the controls that they'd be familiar with, the controls that I'm familiar with. The CC1 being the sort of dynamic control, the mod wheel control, expression often being more of a volume. I threw in MIDI 18 as the resonance so that you can control that on the fly. You can get these sort of nice little filter sweeps, if you like. The main thing that I'm most excited about this library was, and the thing that I sort of like was shooting for when designing this library, is the tremolo effect. MIDI CC21 is normally vibrato for Spitfire. Tremolo and vibrato, they've been confused in the industry in the past. Thanks Fender for that one. I don't know, I thought it was kind of the control that made the most amount of sense. Plus it was something that was on my controller, already programmed in for that control, and I wanted to be able to sweep that up and down. So in combination with the cutoff filter, the resonance knob, the expression for volume swells, and the tremolo, which would speed up and speed down, you can get these really cool gritty type textures. Then throw it in a little bit of saturation, maybe a little bit of reverb to kind of glue it together. The reverb's not too intrusive. It's something that's there to kind of help extend the sound a little bit and round out the sound. So it's more of like a glue reverb in a way. That's how I kind of define it. Saturation though, that's fun. That's something, you've got to have saturation in a drone library, right? Particularly like a metallic library, saturation, that's where it's at, yeah. So with those four controls, you've got your dynamics controlling your cutoff, expression controlling your volume, the vibrato, which is actually controlling the tremolo, and CC18, which is controlling the resonance. It's creating movement underneath the track a little bit. I suppose that's how I sort of see it. Honestly, the tremolo effect is just everything about this library. To me, I think of this library, I think of that effect. That is what I wanted. When building the sounds for this library, I had initially 4 different textures that I ended up experimenting with. Sort of experimented with a lot of metallic sounds, granular synthesis, normal synthesis fed through granular synthesis. I liked 3 of them and I kept the 3 of them. I took a number of these sounds and I put them together into the different groups, and you can now blend blend between them using the microgroup controls that you'd find in Spitfire instruments. This way you can blend and change them as you move through chords and textures. Because you can morph between them, you can sort of tailor it to your needs specifically. That's the cool thing about it. You don't have to worry about what I've set as the particular sound. You can mute one sound if you like. You can just take the whole thing out. Again, it's just about flexibility, the ability to experiment with things, playability. So I just wanted this to be a bit of a fun library to deal with. So all in all, it's a library that has multiple layers that can be blended and moved about. Saturation blended in, reverb to glue it all together, movement added through the cutoff filter and the swells. The really cool tremolo effect, which is my personal favorite. That's the whole point of this library for me. Throw in pitch control on top of that, and you've got something that can be really experimental. And hey, my effects, saturation and reverb, why not use some of yours? Don't just use the ones that are built in, throw something on afterwards, create a cool texture afterwards. Who knows what you're going to create? For me, the whole point of this library was the tremolo effect, so please take it, do something cool with it and let me know, because I want to see something like that. If you've never heard of Piano Book before, I definitely recommend checking it out, and I will hopefully be sharing this to the Piano Book library in the next few days. So once the library's up, I will pop it in the description below, so as soon as you see that come up, you'll be able to download it yourself. All you need to do is join the Piano Book library and you'll have access to it immediately. No cost, it's completely free from me to you. I'm going to be sharing some videos on how I created some of these aspects, hopefully so that you can sort of shortcut some of your learnings. There were definitely some things that took me a long time to find online, and I want to share that with you. Scripting, man, scripting is, But seriously, there are some cool things that I found out during this process, and I want to be able to share that with you. So expect those videos to come, subscribe so you get notified. Honestly, if you are looking to create your own sample library, I highly recommend it. There are a lot of skills that you learn along the way, and it's pretty fun to actually to create something and see the final product, play the final product, share it amongst other people, see what they create out of it. It's just a really good experience and a great way of picking up some new skills along the way. And hey, there's a whole goldmine of information on Piano Book and a load of other channels that you can get all these details for and start building your own library. I highly recommend it. Subscribe for those when they arrive, but otherwise, catch you later.